Hi, I'm Dr. Fox and I'm here to talk to you a little bit about why you might be bloating. So bloating is a part of the small intestine and the large intestine trying to break down food. So how do we prevent that from happening? Well, if we look at the entire digestive system, digestion actually begins in the mind. So in your brain, when you're problem solving, you are actually sending signals down to your gut to shut off your digestive system, because that's when we're in fight, flight, or freeze. But when we're relaxed, we're in our rest and digest state. So then there is a nerve from the brain called the vagus nerve, and the vagus nerve runs down through the back of the throat and plugs down into the gut, and it starts to talk to the gut and say, you can now digest. Digestion is a really important part of us not bloating, because bloating is a process of the small intestine and the large intestine trying to break down food when really it's the upper part of the digestive system that should be doing that job. So let's look at why it couldn't be doing that job. So one is stress. Stress shuts off your stomach's ability to be able to work. So the stomach is what releases acid, and the acid breaks down food. That's really important. If you're drinking lots and lots of water when you're eating, you're washing away all of your digestive juices, all of your enzymes. So that's one thing that you can really start to think about. When you sit down to eat, you could relax, you could chew. That's really good. Maybe about 15 times one mouthful or more if you're eating, say, like kangaroo steak. And you could maybe put your water to the side until you've finished eating for about 5 to 10 minutes after, just so your digestive juices is what's really processing your food, rather than you're just washing it all down with water. So resting, chewing, eating slowly is all really beneficial to engage your digestive system. Another really important part is when your stomach has enough stomach acid, it sends signals to your pancreas to release a whole heap of enzymes, and it can also communicate to your gallbladder to release bile. So that's what's really breaking down all your fats, all your proteins, and all of your starches. Now, if that whole process isn't working, then what happens is the food particles kind of, rather than them getting really, really finely broken down to be fed into the small intestine, which is there like a tube just to absorb nutrients. Now, if we're sending in small particles, the small intestine is going to be like a sponge. It can just absorb them. But if we're not breaking down our food because we're stressed, or we're washing away our digestive juices, or there is another, enzymatic issue with the pancreas releasing enzymes, then the food particles actually go down kind of like the Starship Enterprise. Really big particles are now moving down into your small intestine. So your small intestine is going to try and break down those really large particles. And it's going to do that with bacteria. And so if you think of anything that bacteria breaks down through fermentation or putrefaction, let's think about beer. You open the lid, there's bubbles. Really good kombucha, there's bubbles. Sauerkraut, open the lid, there's bubbles. What are those bubbles? Well, that's gas. That's bacteria doing its work. So we need to not have the bacteria break down the food. We need the upper part of the digestive system engaging. So this is the reason why you could be bloating, is that your bacteria is doing the work in your gut when it's actually your digestive system and your nervous system, which depends on what's going on in your brain, that's really, really important for you to not bloat. So be good to yourself. Thanks for listening.